Could you talk a little bit about Darwin as your inspiration here? Could you also talk about what's wrong with the traditional way of thinking of evolution maybe as a ladder with humans at the top?
To just bridge from my last answer, I mean, other animals have always been the ones who have inspired me, and I wanted in part to write this book to reflect on and process a lot of the experiences that I've had living among and working with other animals. So I'm a primatologist by training, and I think that's something that grew out of a lifelong a childhood love of other animals. And then when I was in high school, I read The Origin of Species by Darwin, and it was like one of the first books that I read cover to cover. I mean, Darwin is an incredible writer, and he really gave kind of a scientific authority to these childhood experiences of kinship that I felt and experienced with other animals and nature more generally. At the same time, in my early scientific education, I learned about evolution, Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection, and words like struggle for existence and survival of the fittest, this notion that individuals are kind of selfishly competing against one another for access to resources. That narrative of evolution definitely dominated in my scientific education. And I think that's true for many. It's true for my students as well, right? They're human evolutionary biology concentrators. They come in with a particular view of evolution and how it works. But that emphasis on competition is only one side of the story. And even Darwin, throughout The Origin of Species, writes about the inherent cooperation and empathy and sympathy and mutualism that occurs in nature. And it's not to say that nature is some, utopian, harmonious place where all beings constantly coexist, but that the undue emphasis on competition has kind of overshadowed this also cooperative and balanced view. And as I argue in the book, competition and cooperation themselves are entangled. One actually begets the other.